Your forehead can be resting on your mat. And if for some reason child's pose is not working for you today, you can always come up into more of a tabletop position. So your knees are more or less parallel, and then just come down onto your forearms. You can let your head hang. Sometimes people are tight in the hips, and child's pose can be a little bit uncomfortable. Otherwise, you're in child's pose. Feel the connection of your body to your mat. And begin to observe your breath. Feel your back body expand with each inhale. Feel everything contract on the exhale. You might rock your head from side to side, massaging your forehead on your mat. Begin to deepen your breath a bit here. So taking a big inhale through your nose, let it out through your mouth. It can be an audible sigh out. Inhaling again through your nose and let it go. A couple more rounds like that. I call that a cleansing or a clearing breath, and you might find that at different times during your practice of breath, a deeper breath like that is helpful. And if you find that your mind wants to wander at any time during this practice today, I invite you to return your attention to your breath. Allowing yourself to be in this moment, in this space, this time that you've carved out for yourself today. We'll be here for a few more breaths. If there's an intention or a goal that you'd like to set for your practice today, it doesn't have to be overly profound. You can do so now. Then crawl your fingertips towards the top of your mat if they're not already there, and then come up onto your fingertips so that you're tenting your hands, your fingers, keeping your forehead low. So this might be bringing some sensation into your shoulders, and that's the intention here. Keeping length through the back of the neck, sitting your hips back, directing your breath into wherever you're feeling sensation. And begin to walk your fingertips to the left corner of your mat, so your torso might follow a little bit. Your left hand might be coming off the side of your mat. That's fine. Take a couple of breaths here. So you might be feeling a little bit more sensation in the right shoulder. Keeping your fingertips tented. Breathing deeply. Stretching through the arms and shoulders. And then crawl your way back through center and make your way over to the other side. So right hand might come off the mat. Noticing if one shoulder feels particularly tight, just observing that. And then make your way back to center one more time, tenting through the fingers here, getting a big stretch. And then lower your hands down and then draw them towards your face, press into your hands. Lift up your torso and then make your way into a tabletop position. So your knees are stacked underneath your hips and your legs are about hips distance apart. Your wrists are stacked underneath your shoulders. And then we'll take a couple of cat-cows here, but we're gonna do a variation. So on the inhale, allow your belly to drop, your tailbone and chin lift. And then as you exhale, begin to press your hands into your mat, round through the shoulders, and sit your hips back towards child's pose. And then inhale, come down onto your forearms, come back into your cow, lifting up. And then as you exhale, press into your hands, round through your shoulders, sit back towards child's pose. So don't worry about what this looks like. Continue with your own breath here. Flexing and extending the spine. Moving through cow and a variation of child's. Couple more rounds. And the next time you come forward, find stillness, coming back to center. And then we're gonna come into needle, but we're gonna do a needle prep, what's called a prep first. So bring your weight into your left hand. And then on an inhale, sweep your right fingertips up towards the sky, lift your gaze towards your fingers. And then as you exhale, begin to draw your right hand underneath your left arm as if you were headed towards thread the needle, but don't come all the way down. Inhale, press into your left hand, sweep your right fingertips high, send your gaze up. Exhale, begin to thread your arm underneath your left hand, your left arm. One more time, inhaling, reaching up. And then exhale, this time come all the way into thread the needle. So right back of the right hand is coming down. Right arm comes all the way down onto the earth. Forehead, right temple can come down. And then you might crawl your fingertips back up towards the top of your mat, getting some extension in your left arm. A couple of breaths here. Then begin to draw your left hand back towards your face. Allow the hand to come all the way down onto the mat. And then stay where you are, so your right arm is still down. And then you're gonna take your left foot out to the left side of your mat. So right arm is drawing towards the left side of your mat. Left foot is on the left side of your mat. So the toes are pointed towards the front of your mat. So we're in gate legs in thread the needle. Your heel, the left heel might not be coming all the way down, that's okay. So we're getting a little bit of an inner thigh groin stretch here. Breathe into sensation. And know that if this feels awkward, that's okay. Can you be okay with that for a few moments? Then we're going to begin to press up. So press into your left hand. Allow your left foot to come all the way down if the heel was lifted. And then sweep your right fingertips towards the sky. Bring your left hand to your hip. Then look down at your left foot. See that it's in line with your right knee. So your right knee is bent and on the earth. Your left foot is more or less in line with that. Toes are pointed towards the front of your mat. Left hand on your hip. Inhale, reach your right fingertips high, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, begin to bend to the left. You can allow your left hand to slide down your leg, resting anywhere but on your knee joint. Breathing here. And then with an inhale, come back through center. And then you're going to allow your right hand to come down to the right side of your mat. Your left fingertips sweep high up to the sky. So we're in a variation of side plank. Couple of breaths here. On an exhale, allow your left hand to come down towards your mat. And then begin to walk your hands back as if you were coming back into table. Draw your left knee under you. So now we're back in table. And then we'll take the second side here. So bringing your weight into your right hand. On an inhale, sweep your left fingertips up. Lift your gaze. Exhale, begin to thread your left hand underneath your right. Inhale to press up and reach and open. Exhale, thread the needle, prep. One more time, inhale to reach up. Exhale, this time come all the way down onto that left arm, left shoulder, left temple. Thread the needle. You might walk the right fingertips up towards the top of your mat again, stretching through your right arm. Hand can be flat or fingertips could be tented here. Couple of breaths here. Finding a deeper breath even though you're a little bit twisted. And then begin to draw your right hand towards your face. And then take your right foot out to the right side of your mat. So right toes are pointed towards the top of your mat. Everything else stays the same. Arms are where they were before. Getting a little bit of a stretch. You might even be feeling it in your calf. Then with an inhale, begin to press into your right hand and sweep up. Sweeping your left fingertips high, bring your right hand to your hip. Look down, just make sure that your right foot is more or less in line with your bent knee. Inhale to lengthen, and then exhale towards the right side. So you're getting a side bend to the right. Right hand can slide down your leg. And then with an inhale, come back through center. And then exhale, allow your left hand to come down to the earth. Sweep the right fingertips high. Side plank variation. With an exhale, allow your right hand to come down and then make your way back towards table. And then we're going to sit up so that we're in a kneeling position. So again, these are still parallel, hips distance apart. On an inhale, sweep both arms overhead, allow your palms to meet. And as you exhale, lower your hands down in front of your heart, coming into Anjali Mudra. Do this again. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, palms meet. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. Inhale, sweep the hands up. This time we're gonna bring the hands behind the low back. So your fingertips are pointed down, your hands are in your low back or sacrum area, and then begin to press your hips forward a little bit. Allow your gaze to lift. Draw your elbows towards each other. We're in a variation of camel. Being careful not to strain your neck here or your low back. Nice. And then begin to lift up on an inhale. Sweep your arms overhead. Allow your palms to meet. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. Nice. And then come back down into your tabletop position. So finding your good alignment here. We're going to do just a little bit of core. So draw your low belly in and up so your core is engaged. And then take your right leg back behind you. Lift it up. Your right toes are pointed down. So your leg is more or less parallel to the earth here. Your core is engaged. And then take your left hand out in front of you. So your left arm is sweeping up towards the top of your mat, parallel to the earth more or less. On an inhale, press your right heel away from you, send your left fingertips away, and then as you exhale, draw your elbow to your knee. Your chin will tuck a little bit. Inhale to re-extend and lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. One more time, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. And then allow your left hand to come down. Take your right leg back behind you one more time. And then allow your right toes to come down to the left side of your mat. So off your mat to the left side. And then send your gaze over your left shoulder. Getting a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a side bend here. Press through your right heel. Breathe. Nice. And on an inhale, take your right leg back behind you. Exhale, re-bend your knee, coming back into your table, and we'll do the second side. So again, re-engaging your core. On an inhale, take your left leg back behind you. Toes are pointed down, heels pressing away from you. Double checking that your core is engaged, and then taking your right arm out. On an inhale, reach the fingertips away from you, press the heel away from you. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to re-extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. And then allow your right hand to come down. Send your left leg back one more time. And then as you exhale, send the right toe or the left toes to the right side of your mat. Gaze is over your right shoulder. Press through your left heel. And breathe. On an inhale, take your left leg back behind you. And then as you exhale, lower it down so that you're in table again. And then from here, we're gonna step the right foot through in between our hands. So we're coming into a low lunge. You're gonna scoot your back knee, your left knee back a little bit, especially so that you're not right on the kneecap. And then bring your hands up to your right thigh. Take a couple of pulses here. Beginning to open up the psoas muscle, the big hip flexor in the front of your hip. Then press into your right foot so you rise up a little bit. Bring your right hand to your hip crease, your right hip crease. Send your left fingertips overhead. Inhale to reach a little bit higher, lengthen through the back of the neck, crown of the head, and then as you exhale, bend to the right. So we're just side bending in a twist here. You might feel some sensation in your left thigh, your left hip. Couple more breaths. Inhale to come back up. And then as you exhale, allow your left hand to come down to your mat. You might even take it wide off your mat a little bit and sweep your right fingertips high. You can take arm circles here, if that feels good. Option to take a quad release here. So if you want to try that, you can try to bend your back knee, spin your left foot towards the midline, and take a hold of your foot with your right hand. And then kick it back behind you. If that's not happening for you today, no worries. Continue to circle your arms or just have your fingertips reaching high. Last couple of breaths. And on an exhale, allow your right hand to come down to frame your right foot, draw your left hand back in onto your mat. And then you might scoot your back knee towards you a little bit, towards the midline. We're gonna switch sides. So coming back into your table, then step your left foot through in between your hands, scoot your right knee back, and then bring your hands up onto your thigh and take a couple of pulses. So that can be a slower pulsing or faster, just depending on what feels good to you. Might be different from one side to the other. And then press into your left foot a little bit so that you rise up. Bring your left hand to your left hip crease. Inhale your right fingertips high. And then exhale, bend to the left. Noticing if this side feels any different. Your gaze can be towards the floor and the outer edge of your mat, the left edge. Nice, and with an inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, lower your right hand down to the outside of your mat, the right side. And then inhale your left fingertips high. So we're in this twist. Again, you might take arm circles here. If you want to try for the quad release on this side, you can reach for your back foot and open up. Pressing your foot into your hand if you're doing that. Couple more breaths. On your next exhale, bring your left hand back down to frame your foot, walk your right hand in a little bit, and then make your way back to tabletop position. From here, we're gonna move into plank. So you might take a wider stance with your hands towards the top of your mat, fingertips are spread wide. And then lift your hips so that you're in high plank, draw your low belly in and up. Pressing through the hands. And then from here, we're gonna shift into side plank. So bring your weight into your left hand. Allow your toes to pivot so that you're coming onto the outer edge of your left foot, the inner edge of your right foot. Sweep your right fingertips high. Take a breath here. With an exhale, bring your right hand down. Pivot your toes back to plank. And then begin to pivot so that you're on the outer edge of your right foot, inner edge of your left foot. Left fingertips come up. Breathing here. On an exhale, allow your left hand to come down, make your way back into plank. And then from here, we're gonna move into forearm plank. So lowering down into your forearms, keeping your belly engaged. And then from here, we're gonna press into dolphin. So dolphin pose, you're lifting your hips. You're basically doing down dog legs. You're pressing into your forearms, sending your chest back towards your thighs. And then when you're ready, lower down to your knees, come into child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Noticing what's changed in your body since we did that little sequence. Your heart might be beating faster, breath might be faster. Just notice how it feels to release from that effort. Couple more breaths. Then from here, we're gonna move into Sphinx Pose. So you can begin to come onto your forearms and then begin to extend your legs back behind you. So you're making your way onto your belly. Your forearms are parallel and your elbows are either underneath your shoulders or slightly ahead of your shoulders. Hands are planted on the earth and then drawing towards you. So there's an energetic action of your hands pulling towards your chest. You can lift your gaze just a little bit here. And then with your next exhale, allow your chin to come down towards your chest. Inhale, roll your left ear towards your left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Continue a couple more rounds on your own, keeping that same energetic action with your hands. Pressing through your toes into your mat. As we release the neck a little bit. And then when you've done both sides, again, go ahead and come back to center. We're gonna lower all the way down onto our mats. So just having your chin just floating above your mat, your hands can be right underneath your shoulders. Draw your elbows towards your ribs. And then on an inhale, begin to lift your feet, your legs off the earth a couple of inches, and then lift your fingertips off. So hold here for a breath. And then send your hands, your fingers back towards your feet. So we're coming into locust. Option to interlace your fingers behind your back. Getting a little bit of a shoulder opener, keeping your legs and feet lifted. Keeping length in the back of your neck. Inhale, see if you can lift everything a little higher. On your next exhale, go ahead and release. You can come into crocodile, so stacking one hand on top of the other. Elbows are out to the outer edges of your mat. Forehead comes down to your hands. And then bend your knees so that the soles of your feet are pointed up towards the ceiling. And allow your feet to tick-tock from side to side. Just releasing the low back a little bit. Then come back to center, allow your legs to release. Draw your hands back underneath your shoulders. Draw your elbows towards each other, and with an inhale, press into your hands, lift up to baby cobra. Exhale to release. Inhale to press up again. You might come up a little bit higher. Exhale, release. And then again, pressing into your hands, keeping your elbows drawing into your ribs, coming into cobra. And then on an exhale, release. And then on an inhale, press into your hands, lift up through cobra, come back through table, and make your way into downward facing dog. So pressing into your hands, particularly at the base of the thumb and forefingers. You might have a slight gripping motion with your fingertips. Your knees can be a little bit bent here. Pressing strongly into your hands, sending your chest back towards your thighs. You might pedal out your feet, bending one knee and then the other. So allowing yourself to experience movement that's coming from your own intuition. On an inhale, lift your heels. And then as you exhale, begin to walk your feet towards your hands, coming towards the top of your mat, coming into Uttanasana. So feet are parallel, hips distance apart. Allow your head to hang, knees can be bent. You might shake your head no and nod it yes here. You can take a hold of opposite elbows and sway. Uttanasana, forward fold. And allow your hands to release if you had your elbows. And then on an inhale, slide your hands up your shins. Lift up halfway to a flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, same thing. Hands come up the shins, lifting up to a flat back. Exhale, fold. One more time, inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. And then allow your toes, big toes to come together. So heel toe your feet so the big toes are almost touching. On an inhale, sit your hips back, coming into chair. So your hips are sitting back, knees are bent, core is engaged. Arms are extended alongside the ears. And then we're gonna open up into a twist. So send your left arm back behind you. Your gaze comes back over your left shoulder. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale, open up to the right. Inhale back to center. And then from here, we're going to come onto our tiptoes. So we're coming into a balance. And then begin to rise all the way up with your heels high. Reach your fingertips high. Inhale. And then as you exhale, we're gonna let everything go. Sweep the arms down, bend the knees. We're gonna do that again. Inhaling, coming back into your chair. Exhale. Inhale, begin to lift the heels, come onto your tippy toes, rise all the way up. Exhale, sweep your arms down, bend your knees, let it go. One more time, sitting back in a chair. On an inhale, lift your heels, rise all the way up. Exhale, let it go. Nice, you guys. And then heel toe your feet back to parallel, hips distance apart. On an inhale, sweep up or come up halfway. Exhale, fold. On an inhale, sweep the arms overhead, allow your palms to meet. Exhale them down in front of your heart. Engage your core here, so draw your low belly in and up. Bring some of your weight into your left foot. Lift your back heel or your right heel. And then begin to raise your knee in front of you. So the heel or the sole of your right foot is parallel to the earth. And then we're gonna take a big step back, coming into a high lunge. So with control, there's no rush. Taking a step back, taking time to make adjustments. You can bring your hands to your hips to start, and you might have to walk your feet forward or back a little bit. You wanna make sure that your bent knee is not going ahead of your ankle. Sorry, I lost the word for a moment. So it can either be behind the ankle or just exactly over it. Squeeze your glutes here, especially your right glute. Draw your inner thighs towards each other. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Strong foundation, strong front foot. Inhale to reach your fingertips a little bit higher. And then exhale, we're opening up into a twist to the left. So kind of like what we did in chair. Breathing here. On an inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, lower your hands down to frame your foot. Walk your right hand out to the side beyond the right side of your mat. And then sweep your left fingertips high. So we've done a version of this in low lunge. Breathing here. On an exhale, lower your hand down, bring your right hand back to frame your foot, step back into plank. Belly is engaged. On an inhale, shift your weight forward a little bit. As you exhale, lower down to your knees, belly, chest, or through chaturanga, if that's in your practice. Inhaling, pressing up to cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, take your right leg up, either parallel to the earth or into three-legged dog, up to you. Exhale, sweep your right foot forward in between your hands. Help it along the way as much as you need to. We're coming into the second side. So coming up, bringing your hands to your hips as you're ready. Checking the position of your front knee. Squeezing your back glute, drawing your inner thighs towards each other. Inhaling the arms overhead. Breathing, catching your breath. Inhaling, reaching the fingertips high. Exhaling, opening to a twist to the right. On an inhale, come back to center. Exhale, lower your hands down to frame your foot, and then walk your left hand out to the outer edge of your mat. Sweep your right fingertips high. Inhale, reach your fingertips a little bit higher. Exhale, bring your hand down, frame your foot again, and then step forward as you're ready to Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, allow the palms to meet. Exhale, your hands in front of your heart. And from here, we're going to engage the core again, drawing the low belly in and up. Bring the weight into your right foot. Lift your left heel. And then send that knee forward. Sole of the left foot parallel to the earth. Taking a moment to balance here. And then stepping back into a high lunge, taking your time. You can bring your hands to your hips to start. Making sure that your front knee looks good. And then once you're set up, we're gonna lower the back knee, coming all the way down into a low lunge, Anjaneyasana. From here, inhale your arms up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Lift your gaze, lift your heart. Take another breath here. On an inhale, press into your front foot. Send your fingertips high. Exhale, lower your hands down to frame your foot. And then we're gonna sit our hips back, coming into half splits. So you're sitting your hips back, your right toes come up. They could be pointed towards the sky. Try to keep length through your spine, the back of the neck here. Gaze can be towards your mat. We're holding this for a couple of breaths. Drawing your right hip back. Breathing. Nice, and then with an inhale, begin to come forward. Tuck your left toes under, lift your knee, step back into plank. Core is engaged. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Exhale, knees, belly, chest, or through chaturanga. Inhaling up to baby cobra, cobra, or up dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhale, send the left leg up, either parallel to the earth or three-legged dog. Exhale, step your left foot in between your hands. We're setting up for the second side. Inhaling your arms alongside your ears in a high lunge. Then bring your hands to your hips and then begin to lower your back knee down. So right knee is coming down now. Inhale your arms up high. And then exhale, cactus your arms. You might be lunging forward a little bit here. Extra breath. Inhale the fingertips up again, pressing into the front foot. Exhale the hands down to frame the foot. And then we're gonna sit the hips back, coming into half split, second side. Noticing if the side feels different. Looking to maintain length in the back of the head and through the spine. Drawing your left hip crease back. Couple more breaths. On an inhale, re-bend into your front knee. Bring the hands over to frame the foot. Tuck your back toes under, lift your knee, step forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, allow the palms to meet. Exhale them in front of your heart. You guys are doing great. Bring your hands to your hips here. We're going to be doing a similar beginning to the sequence. So bringing your weight into your left foot again. Drawing the low belly in and up, lifting the right knee. Stepping back, big step back into lunge. And then from here, we're going to be making our way into Warrior 3. So inhale your arms alongside your ears. And then you're going to begin to bring your weight into your front foot. You might hop your back toes forward a little bit and then lift up onto your left leg. Your right leg is coming back behind you. I'm hitting a wall, so if that's happening to you, you can take airplane arms. Otherwise, your arms can be extended alongside your ears. So your left toes are pointed down. Lifting your right leg, your right toes. Lifting your right leg just as high as is comfortable. Your torso and your leg might be parallel to the earth or not. That's okay. Wherever you're at is all good. Noticing if you're wobbling. See if you can hold it, and if you fall out, just come back in. It's no problem. Have a micro bend in your standing leg knee. Then begin to bend into that leg a little bit more. We're coming back to upright. Sweeping the right knee forward, bringing the hands into prayer. So just where we started. And from here, we're making our way into a low tree. So bringing the sole of your right foot to the calf, the inner calf of your left leg. And now we're in tree. So drawing the low belly in, keeping your core engaged. Hands can remain in front of the heart, or you can sweep your arms overhead. Breathing here. And then release. Shake everything out for a moment. Shake out your legs, your feet, your arms. And we'll get ready for the second side. So coming back into having your feet parallel, hips distance apart, bringing your hands to your hips, start bringing your weight into your right foot, lifting your left knee. Belly is engaged, and then taking a big step back into lunge, taking your time. Inhaling the arms up over the head. And then begin to prep for warrior three. So bring your weight into your front knee, hop your back foot forward a little bit, and then begin to lift the left leg up. So left toes are pointed down. Again, you can have Superman arms, airplane arms, whatever feels good to you. Have a micro bend in your right knee. And breathe. Find something to focus on, a drishti, a focal point on the floor that's not moving. And then we're going to begin to rise up. Bending the left knee, bringing that forward, bringing your hands into prayer. And then coming into low tree. So sole of the left foot is coming against the calf of the right leg. Belly is engaged, gaze is forward. Then again, options for what you want to do with your hands. Nice, and then release, shake everything out. You guys look great. Take a drink of water. Take a moment here. And then make your way back to the top of your mat. Feet hips distance apart, parallel. And on an inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Allow the palms to meet in front of your heart. Inhale, sweep your arms up again, and this time we're gonna swan dive forward, coming into a forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees a little bit here so that you can plant your palms on either side of your feet and step back to plank. Coming into high plank. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Exhale, lower down through chaturanga or knees, belly, chest. Inhaling to cobra, up dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, however high. Exhale, step the right foot through in between the hands. So we're in a high lunge. We're gonna shift our feet into warrior two feet. So spin your back heel down. And then keeping your right knee bent, begin to come up, cartwheel your arms up to a T. And then from here, check to see that you have heel to arch alignment, heel of the front foot, lining up with the arch of the back foot. And then again, making sure that the front knee is not going ahead of the ankle. Inhale your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, roll them down your back. Bring some weight into the outer edge of your left foot to lift through the arch there. And there's a tendency for the front knee in warrior two to fall inward a little bit. See if you can draw it back. You can even take your right hand and press your thigh back. And breathe. And then we're gonna straighten the front knee. You're gonna heel toe your back foot in just a little bit. We're making our way into triangle pose, which is a slightly shorter stance. Arms are still at a T. Shift your weight, your hips back towards the back of your mat. And then shift your weight forward. So reach your fingertips forward and then allow your right fingertips to come down to your shin. Your left fingertips are reaching overhead. You can also use a block and have your right hand on a block if you have blocks at home. Otherwise, you're reaching through the fingertips. Your feet are active. Imagine that you're trying to stretch your mat in between your feet. That's the action, the sensation of the legs. Couple more breaths here. On an inhale, come all the way up. Bring your hands to your hips. Pivot your right toes so that they're parallel to your left, more or less. And then send your heels out just a little bit. So you're a little bit pigeon-toed here. We're in a wide-legged stance. Inhale, lengthen through your crown of your head. And then as you exhale, hinge at the hips, come forward. We're making our way towards a wide-legged forward fold. So from here, if you can't bring your fingertips easily to the earth, see if you can heel toe your feet out a little bit wider. So you give yourself some space. You can also come to a block. And then again, if you'd like to get a shoulder release, you can interlace your hands behind your back. Reach your hands for the ceiling. Let your head hang, let it be heavy here. Bring your fingertips back down in front of you if they're behind you, and then on an inhale, lift up halfway to a flat back, just like we do in a forward fold. And then exhale, fold again. And then we're gonna pivot the left toes towards the back of your mat, and we're gonna come into warrior two on this side. So bending through your front knee so you can walk your hands around to frame your foot. And then make any adjustments, just looking for that heel to arch alignment. And if you did take a wider stance, that's typically what warrior two has. And then on an inhale, cartwheel your arms up. Warrior two. Making any adjustments once you're up. If anything doesn't feel quite right. Bringing some weight into the outer edge of your right foot, lifting through the arch. And breathing. Drawing your left knee back to the left. And then we'll head to triangle, so straightening into the front knee. Again, you might shorten your stance a little bit. You can bring your hands to your hips for a moment if you'd like, if you need to get your stance right, and then bring them back out. And then shift your hips back. And then reach your fingertips, your left fingertips forward, and allow your left hand to come down to your shin. Reaching the right fingertips high. Again, trying to find that action of the feet as if you're stretching your mat in between your feet. Option to take a half bind with the right arm here. If you want to try that, you can reach your right hand behind, reaching for your left hip crease or your left hip. Only if that feels good to you. It can help you to open a little bit here. On an exhale, bring your hand down to frame your foot. So you're going to make your way into a lunge here, lifting through the back heel, hands framing the foot. And then we'll go through a vinyasa here or going directly back to downward facing dog. So it's your call. Doing it on your own. Meeting in downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. We're headed towards child's pose, so you can be here as long as you'd like. I will cue you to come down, but if you're ready for child's now, you're welcome to go there. And as you're ready, lowering your knees down, coming into either a wide knee child's pose, or you can come into embryo. If you'd like to have your knees together, you can try reaching your arms back behind you. So just whatever is feeling good for you today. Taking a moment to observe how you're feeling now compared to at the beginning of class when we started in this pose. And if it serves you to take a couple of clearing breaths here, you can do so, inhaling deeply through your nose and sighing it out. Just checking in, noticing if anything has changed physically, mentally. A few more breaths here. We're going to begin to move on. So wherever you're at, draw your hands towards your face. And then press into your mat, lifting up. And since you're facing the back of the mat, you want to turn around and make your way to a seat. So I'm going to face you here and I'll mirror you. So once you get turned around, taking your time, there's no rush. Have your knees bent and have your feet wide on your mat, so at the outer edges of your mat. Take your hands behind you and tick-tock your knees from side to side a couple of times. Do both sides one more time. And then come back to center. And then we're going to extend the right leg out to the side and then bend the left knee. So draw your sole of your left foot in towards the inside of your right thigh. And then on an inhale, take your left fingertips up high. And then as you exhale, begin to reach for your right foot. So your right hand can be alongside your extended leg. Kind of like a twisted stretch here. And you might open up, so bringing your left arm up, extending, shifting your heart towards the sky. Your right arm is still alongside your right leg, maybe holding on to your calf or your ankle or your foot. And then come back down, so reach one more time, reach both feet for the extended leg, extended foot. Now let your head hang. Then on an inhale, begin to rise up. Bring your left hand behind your left hip. And then begin to shift your weight to the left, so allowing the sole of your front foot to come all the way down. And then press into your hand, lift your hips, reach your right fingertips high. Coming into stargazer. You might take arm circles here again. Keeping your hips lifted. See if you can find something juicy about this pose, something that feels good in your body. So for me, it feels good to reach my right fingertips towards the floor and then back behind me. Just getting some exploration here. And when you're ready, you can lower your hips down. And then we're going to make our way into a variation of a twist here. So keeping your right leg extended, you're going to draw it so that it's now in front of you. And then take your left knee, lift it up. And then you're going to cross your left foot over your right thigh. And then from here, you're going to hug your knee towards you as much as you can. Maybe you can hook it with your elbow. And then you'll inhale to lengthen through the spine. We're headed towards a twist to the left. As you exhale, begin to twist. So it might feel good to actually cross your elbow across your thigh. There's also a variation of this where both knees are bent. If that's something that's in your practice, you can switch to that.
requires a little bit more openness. If you notice your back shoulder creeping up towards your ear, see if you can release a little bit. With your next inhale, begin to unwind. And then take both legs long in front of you, shake them out. Give them a little slap massage. And then take your left leg out to the side, bend your right knee, bring the sole of the right foot towards the inner thigh. And then keeping just your left hand can be on your shin or on your calf here, or sorry, on your thigh. Inhale your right fingertips high, and then exhale, begin to reach for the extended foot. You can turn your torso. And then from here, you might open up so that you're lifting your gaze, lifting through the heart. The right arm opens. And then release, reaching both feet towards the extended foot, allowing the head to hang. With an inhale, come all the way up. Bring your right hand behind your right hip. Shift to the right, allow your left foot to come down, and then press into your hand, lift your hips, sweep your left fingertips high. Sorry if I mixed up some of those rights and lefts, but I think you guys know what to do. You can take arm circles here. Again, exploring some movement. Keeping the hips lifted. Then releasing the hips down as you're ready. Then again, drawing your extended leg out in front of you, lifting up the knee, crossing the foot over, and then either hooking your knee with your elbow or taking your elbow across your thigh. Inhale to lengthen. And then exhale to twist, twisting to the right. And breathing. On an inhale, come back to center. Release the cross of your legs, shake them out one more time. And then we're gonna make our way onto our backs. So we're gonna come into boat pose. So your knees are gonna be bent, and then take your hands behind your knees. Begin to lean back, try to keep some length in your spine, and then lift your feet up so that your calves are parallel to the earth. So this could be your boat pose today, and that's fine. Or so your stomach muscles are engaged here, you can try to release your hands from behind your legs. Notice what that takes in terms of core engagement. And if you're good here, then stay here for a couple of breaths. Last option is to straighten your legs. So see where you're at today. Knowing that this discomfort will end. Begin to lower all the way onto your back as slowly as you can from wherever you are. If you have low back issues, you are going to want to keep your knees bent. And then make your way all the way into your back. Take a big full body stretch with your arms overhead. Flex and point the toes. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then plant your feet down on your mat. Feet are hips distance apart, parallel. You might even be able to reach your heels here. So we're going to come into a variation of bridge. We're going to do a flowing bridge. So beginning to press your feet into the earth, begin to lift your hips. And as you do so, lift your arms overhead.
So when your hips are all the way as high as they'll go, your arms come down above you, like behind you. And then as you exhale, slowly lower back down, so vertebrae by vertebrae, and then lowering your hands down to your sides. See if you can time it so that your hips and hands are coming up and down at the same time. Noticing if when you lift your hips, so you're going on your own here, notice if your knees are splaying out a little bit. See if you can draw them towards each other. Doing a few more rounds with your own breath. And the next time you come all the way down, take your feet to the outer edges of your mat and then allow your knees to come together, coming into constructive rest for a moment. And then you might tick-tock your knees from side to side one more time. We're getting ready for Shavasana. So tick-tocking your knees, and then if there's any final movement that you'd like to take, perhaps a happy baby or drawing your knees in towards your chest again, go ahead and do so. Hazel, my cat Hazel, is waking up from her nap, and she wants everyone to know it. And then making your way into Shavasana as you're ready. So allowing your legs to extend long. Your arms can be at your sides or hands on your belly. And we'll be here for a few moments. Shavasana.